la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasul. Katim Nabi'in sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That is to give open and sound witness that nothing is worthy of worship except Allah. He is one alone, without partners or associates, and I also give open and sound witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is a slave servant messenger and seal of all the prophets. Peace be upon the prophet, upon his descendants, upon his companions, and upon the righteous throughout the world. And peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum. We give this illustrious greeting of peace. And we have to remember when we give this greeting, it's very important for us to see inside this greeting is a very, very important attribute. When we give this greeting and we say Assalamu alaikum, we have to remember that inside this greeting is one of the most excellent names that the Quran talks about. And Allah said that to him belong the most beautiful name. And when we give that greeting, we have to really be conscious of what is being said. Because oftentimes, greetings go with just like ritualistic behavior. No awareness of what's being said. So when we say Assalamu alaikum, it's like a prayer that you're saying for this person. I'm praying that Allah will allow peace to be on your life. That's strong right there. This should touch your heart when a person gives you this greeting because you understand what is actually being said. May the peace that comes from Assalam, the source of peace, be on your life. Now, if you're talking about something that's heavy, that's heavy. It's not a how you doing. It's not a what's up. It's what's going on. I'm praying that when you leave from this musala, Allah's peace will be on you. That you'll go in His name, with His name. That your soul will be comforted knowing that Allah's peace is over your life. So it's a constant reminder. And then there's a constant reminder of our obligation to promote peace. So that's the obligation of a Muslim. The very name itself, Muslim, is one who is inclined to peace. So that's what makes the world better because that's what the soul wants. The soul wants to be at peace. The way Allah created this human being, He has created this human being in such a way that he longs for peace until Shaitan gets up in him. That's why everything we do, when we go to this Quran, we say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. We make our salat, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, because we're mindful of the powerful influences of Shaitan and how they can get into your soul. That's why Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that Shaitan flows through the human body like blood. Now, if you take time to think about that, that means that if you're not aware, Shaitan will be all up in you, but you can't feel it or you can't see it. You accept it as normal. See, if he flows through your body like blood, you don't feel the blood circulating in your system right now. All your veins and arteries, blood is pumping from your heart. You can't feel it. And that's how subtle the influences of Shaitan can get into the human being, and the human being will be moving under that influence and won't be even aware of it. So we begin with Assalamu alaikum, being conscious of the fact that Allah's peace is on our lives. It's a reminder. Allah's peace be on you. Then it's a reminder of your obligation to promote and then work to maintain peace. Because, as Frederick Douglass said, where there's no peace, there can be no progress. So you need peace. That's why Allah said, and He named you Muslim, both before and in this revelation called Quran. He said, He named you Muslim. The urge to submit but then also to work for security, because that's what Muslim means. It means security. See, Allah wants you to be a secure being. You can't serve Allah effectively if you're insecure. You got to be strong. You got to be emotionally strong. You got to be intellectually strong. You have to work on becoming spiritually strong. Because if you're not, then you become overwhelmed with the influences of the world. And it will rock your world. But Allah says He gave you this name. This name, Muslim. One who is inclined to peace, and then the one who works to establish a level of security within their own soul. So that all of the influences that are working to defeat you won't wipe you out. The last time we talked about Jumuah. And in that chapter of congregation, it begins by first addressing who it makes the call to. Who the call is being addressed to. And it first begins with establishing that this call is for those who have rendered their will consciously. They move from being Muslim, they move from that fundamental base. Now they've grown to a level of conscious awareness of believing in the system Allah laid out for their life. That they've grown from a Muslim, now they're a believer. He says, the verse says, "Oh, you believe when the call is proclaimed, hasten earnestly to the remembrance of Allah, leave off all business and traffic, and that is best for you if you only know." See, that verse ends with powerful words. Because most people think they know. They think they know what's best for them. And a lot of people know the call has been made, they hear the call, they don't even respond. You find those who say, I'm a Muslim, I'm a believer, I believe in Allah, make salat, but they hear the call, they know it's time for Jumu'ah, they don't move. Something else got there today, I'll go next week. The verse says, it is best for you that you respond to that call if you only knew. Here's what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about Jumu'ah. He said, any man, any woman who performs ghusl, full bath on Friday, perfumes himself, if he has any perfume, and wears his best clothes, then go to the masjid and offer as many prayers as he wishes while harming no one. Then listen to the imam as he speaks until the prayer is offered. They will have their sins between this Friday and the next forgiven. See, if you only knew, so I'd be moving fast for that. Because I understand the call is designed to grow me up. And part of the response to that, cleanse your body. Smell good. See, when some people go to church, that's the best day. And they get dressed up. Women got nice hats on, they smelling good, they got their best clothes on. Because they see that as a special day. Now, Prophet Muhammad, he said the best day in the sight of Allah Almighty is Jumu'ah. Best day. So when we read this, when we understand what is being said, we really say, thank God it's Friday. See, you got the commercials. Thank God it's Friday. I'm about to get paid. I'm about to go out. I'm going to the club and buy some new clothes. Thank God it's Friday. I don't have to work tomorrow. We say thank Allah it's Friday because we understand what Friday represents, what Friday does for my soul, what Friday does to make me a better human being, submitting my will to do the will of Allah. He says he's al-Jami, he's the gatherer. He brings together the human being, not just the physical being, he brings the spiritual being. He brings the talent, potential, the power, the mind power together, and you really experience power. That's why Muhammad the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that congregation of salat is 27 degrees more superior than the salat you make by yourself. See, Allah loves the number, Allah loves the unity coming together. One ummah. Ummatul wahid, one ummah. All these separate bodies, but in spirit, we're one body, we're one ummah, submitting our will to the will of Allah. So he said that in the sight of Allah, Jumu'ah is the best day. And we say that we say thank Allah's Friday because we know this is worship. And you know what the worship does for your soul, what it's designed to do to make you a better human being so you can make your contribution to the world. So you hear the revealed message of the Quran, you hear the life of Muhammad the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to help you grow and evolve to become a better human being so you can see yourself as a tool working to advance life. Because we realize that the best way for you to become aware of your skills, purpose, and destiny is to allow your life to be under the influence of Rabbil Alameen. When your life is under the influence of the one that's allowing you to graduate, see, that's what Rab is. Rab is the one that's lifting you up from smallness. He's lifting you up from weakness. He's taking you from weakness to strength, from darkness into enlightenment. That's Rab. We say Allah is the one who is the evolver. That's the very first attribute. That's how Allah introduced himself to the world. Not as Allah, the first revelation to Muhammad the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was Iqra. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. See, read in the name of your evolver. Let's say in the name of Allah. Not in the name of Ar-Rahman. Read in the name of your Rabb. That Muhammad the Prophet had to go into that environment and transform that world. It moved those people from ignorance, where they became a beacon of light. Industry, science, technology, from this revealed message that Allah gave to Muhammad the Prophet to lift up the world, because he said he revealed the Quran to give you eminence, to give you status in the world. But he's lifting you up. He is evolution, Rabb. That's why you hear that attribute every time you recite Al-Fatiha. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Every day, you're constantly reminded that Allah is the one who's allowing you to graduate, to grow up, to become better. See, when you get on this path, you should be on this path with the intent of becoming better. We say we're on Deen. This is Deen. This is a way. It is a way that is leading towards something. I gave you the picture before about an assembly line. And when you get on when you have something on the assembly line, the assembly line is set up to start off from A to Z. From the starting point and the ending point, and when you follow the pattern of the assembly line, you're going to have the end result of the car. But you start with an idea, you start with the framework, and then you build, and as you go through stage to stage, the end result is a brand new car that's going to serve your purpose. And when you get on this path in your life, you're on this journey, because Allah says He created everything and He gave it a conduct. He said He created everything and He gave it a destiny. It has a beginning and an end. And as you stay on this deen, if you stay on this path, your end result should be a better human being. with all the struggles, with all the challenges, with all the trials and the tests, you're going to gain the knowledge and experience that will allow you to be qualified as a better human being. So we say, thank God it's Friday, we really mean that. Because we know what Friday does for our soul. We look forward to Friday because Muhammad the Prophet said, if you come, you're clean, you had full bath, you smell good, you got the right clothes on. You hear the khutbah, you make the salat. He says from Friday to Friday, sins are forgiven. Oh, thank Allah it's Friday. So I look forward to Friday. Because I understand what Friday is doing for my soul. Friday is helping me to relieve the burden of guilt I've been walking around with. You've been falling short. You've been sinning. You sin. You as a human being. That's what you do. That's why Allah says He's going to forgive you for the sins from that point to the other point. So we thank Allah for Friday. Because His messenger delivered to the world that Friday in His sight is the best day. That's what we look forward to. Because we want to get better. And we walk around with the burden of guilt. And if we don't believe that the sins are forgiven, then the burden of guilt robs us of vitality. It robs us of our real life because we're held back and we get stuck in certain kind of behaviors that rob us of real spiritual life. See, that's where the work has to take place. You got to do some soul work. You got to start to work on your soul. That's why I say He's going to forgive you. He says He's all forgiving, most merciful. A powerful combination. He's going to forgive you, and He's going to have mercy on you. So we thank Allah for everything He has done for us and what He's doing for us right now, today. See, some people want to thank Allah for what Allah did for them. No, what He's doing for you right now. He's always working. His system is always in effect. And when we tap more into that system, and really understand real spiritual power, we become unstoppable. Most of us are operating below our real power. If you think about how Allah has gifted the human being, not other people, He gifted the human being. Most of us will come to the conclusion that we're working beneath our potential. You ask yourself, are you maximizing your potential? Are you getting the most from the life Allah gave you as a trust that don't belong to you? The life He gave you as a trust to see how you will work and use that life. That's why we have to live with this awareness of accountability. See? Accountability. And this awareness of consequences. So when you start living with awareness of consequences, you start being much, much better as a human being. We say Allah is Maliki Yawmuddin. He's the master of the day of judgment. We understand judgment. That we will be judged for what we do. So everything is correcting the behavior. If you know Allah is master of the day of judgment and you will be judged, and that's a corrective form in terms of you being reminded that there's a point in time when judgment will be real. Most people don't think about judgment. They just think about living. But I ask the question, do you think that you're living to the highest level of your ability as a human being? Because we said this is worship. So as we submit to Allah, we should get better. As we submit to Allah, we should be much more enthused about life. life. Say when the call is given, in that call it talks about life, hayya. But a part of that life, Allah says in the Quran, mauta fahayya, die that you may live. See, in order to really live up to your real potential, there's certain things you just have to die to. You have to die to greed. You have to die to selfishness. You have to die to arrogance. You have to die to anything that will lock you up from getting the pleasure of Allah. If you don't die to it, it's going to rob you of your real life. So the verse says, mount to fahayya, die that you may live. Allah wants us to live. But those other things can interfere with our growth and our progress. So we have to constantly go to work on ourselves. You know, when they won the battle, Brother Muhammad, they came back feeling very victorious. They was victorious in the external battle. Prophet Muhammad told them, peace be upon him, that the greatest jihad, the greatest struggle is against yourself. You can go out there and knock them out all day long. But how much soul work have you done? How much have you worked against the enemy that's inside, that's blocking your progress? Did you wage that kind of war? The greatest struggle is against the rebellioususness in yourself. The greatest struggle is against the self that says, I don't want to do the right thing. I don't want to be committed. I don't want to do things that's pleasing to Allah. I want to please other people. I find the way of man to be much more pleasing and attractive than the way of Allah. So you got to wage war against those kind of tendencies. Because those tendencies will rob you of getting the real benefit that comes through worship of Allah. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. So we talked about this call. And the call is about production. The call is about life, cultivation, prosperity, contributing, making life better, getting the environment ready to receive life. So there's all kind of calls. One verse, it says, and we heard the call of one calling us to Iman, and we believe. Then there's another verse where Allah says, respond to the messenger when he calls you to that which will give you life. All these calls. And Allah is calling you to growth, development, improvement, advancing, making an impact in the world as his slave. But then there's other calls out there. Calls that's calling you to ignorance, calling you to death, moral, spiritual, intellectual, economic death. There's all kind of calls. Calling you to foolishness. All kind of calls. But the call that we hear, when we hear that there, the call we hear is a call to life. It's a call to freedom. Because you have to realize that Shaitan is making a call to you too. In fact, there's one verse where Shaitan talks about, let me see if I have this verse. The verse where Shaitan, it says, and Shaitan will say, when the matter is decided, it was Allah who gave you the promise of truth. I too promised you, but I failed in my promise. I had no authority over you except to call you, and you came. So don't blame me, blame yourself. See, there's all kind of calls. All Shaitan has is the power to make the call to introduce. But Allah is letting us know that we have the power to resist. That's why you begin that call, you begin your faith declaration ashhadu an la. See, if you can't say la, if you can't say no, you will be a slave. You understand that? So from the very premise of you declaring your faith, which is a declaration of freedom, you must bear witness to the power of saying la ilaha illallah. There's no power that is more attracting to me than that of me submitting my will to the will of Allah. No ilah, no force, no power, no being, nothing. And these are all the calls that come 24/7. Turn the radio, the call is on the radio. Turn the internet, the call is on your text, on your phone, everywhere you turn. Because Shaitan said clearly, he's not even trying to get the one he already got. He got the dope fiend, he has the alcoholic. He said he will sit on Siratul Mustaqim. In fact, then he said that he will come in front of you, behind you, on your right and your left. Everywhere you turn, there are those influences that's calling you from your power. He said, the verse Allah says, Shaitan says, and Allah gave you a promise of truth. You know, truth means that which is durable and lasting. Falsehood, lies is weak. It has no foundation. It crumbles. When the winds of emotion comes, it shifts. He said, and I promised you too, but I failed in my promise. I had no authority over you. This verse lets us know that people give Shaitan much more power. I mentioned before, for those who make Hajj, when you make Hajj, you go on a jam, it takes a small stone that you throw towards the symbol of Shaitan. Take a whole bunch to deal with Shaitan. Small. Because this power is only to introduce. But you have the power to resist because Allah made you much, much stronger than Shaitan, particularly when you submit your will to his will. Shaitan can't penetrate you. That's for real. As hard as he works, everywhere you turn, but you got the power to resist because you realize that the promise of Allah is true. And he said for the believers, he will give them mastery in the land. We got to believe that. See, that first part of the verse says, oh, you believe. It's a lot of things we have to believe. Believe that we can build a hospital. You understand that? Many of you have been to the hospital. You go to St. Michael's, you go to St. Francis, you go to St. Elizabeth, you go to St. Barnabas, you go to Beth Israel. So you go to all those other hospitals, and all the names suggest somebody else's belief. In St. Michael, these are Christian institutions. St. Barnabas, these are Christian institutions. Beth Israel, these are Jewish institutions. But they got a level of belief that they say, we can provide these things. With all the bad health care, with the high sickness in America, America is, yes, the most prosperous nation on earth, but the sickest at the same time. That means we have to be in the business of now caring for the ill. So Allah said, those who believe, he will give them mastery in the land. That's why that verse began with, oh, you who believe. It ain't for everybody. And that belief should inspire you to work for the renovation and the elevation of man. That's how you see your belief, because when you change your belief, you change your life. Because everything you do is based on what you believe in. All throughout the Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, oh you who believe. You can't move with doubt. You can't be effective with insecurities. Strong belief. And the belief is weak. I work to make the belief stronger. That's why Allah said that you may add faith to your faith. Get a little weak, get a little weary. Sometimes the challenges become overwhelming. But Allah said those who believe and do good deeds, they are the best of creatures. You understand that? He said those who believe. And as Spike Lee said, they do the right thing. Allah said they are the best of creatures. That's where I want to be. I want to be right in that group. Because I find nothing better than being right where Allah said I should be. Doing my best to submit to Him. Ain't no better position. And if you come to this, you won't find nothing better. If you really engage yourself in this, what we call deen, this system Allah already laid out for us. It's a system that's laid out. You go through that system, you're going to be a better human being. All you got to do is submit your will. You're going to be a better human being. I don't care how much progress you've made so far. You will be better if you give yourself to this system. What did Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, say he came for? What's the reason he came? He said, I come not except to exalt character, perfect character. That's what he said he came for. He came to help us to become better, because in the word, we mentioned this before, in the word khuluq for character is the same word for khalaqa, create. Because as you grow in character, you're going to create something. See, if your character is bad, you're going to create some bad things. You know, you're going to create some bad conditions. You're going to display some bad behavior. Your character is creating something. So we got good character, that a character is attractive. You pull people to you. You find yourself in good positions. Character open all kind of doors for you. So your character is creating something. And Allah says, Muhammad the Prophet, Khuluq Adeen, he stands on the most exalted standard of character. So all of us should be striving to be Muhammad. As we strive to be Muhammad, we submit our will to Allah, because you look at the word Muhammad like a man in sajda. We bow down, Allah exalts us, and we grow into greater human beings, into greater levels of excellence as a human being. So Allah said, those who believe and do good deeds, they are the best of creatures. Let's work to be the best. And recognize that we realize there's no better day than Friday. Because we know, as we gave this hadith, clean yourself, smell good, hear the khutbah, make the salat. Allah says, from point A to point B, Friday to Friday, sins are forgiven. Working to be a better human being, we say, thank God it's Friday. So we look forward to this. Why? Because we're going to work on ourselves, we're doing some soul work. Because aflaha min zakah. And he is successful who purifies his soul. Do some soul work. That's why when you make Hajj, I love the whole picture. You throw off all your national garb that gives you any distinction. And it's about soul work. Soul work. I'm going on the inside. When I see this other human being, I'm looking at the inside of that human, and I can feel their spirit. And when that spirit is right, they come back home and they work for change. When you get your spirit right, you want to make conditions better. When you get your spirit right, you want to contribute to make the world a better place, and knowing that after you left, you made a contribution. You wasn't just here occupying space. You made a contribution, and people remember you for what you've done, because Muhammad the Prophet said that the best of you is he who is most useful to society. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. إقام الصلاة.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.